Hey everybody, welcome to International Culinary Art. Today we're going to cover... Yes, question?
I'm just saying hi.
Okay, hi. Today our country of choice is going to be Poland. Poland is particularly near and dear to me. My grandmother was born in Krakow, Poland, so I grew up around a lot of good food. Good bakers, the babka and gołąbki, which we're going to be making today, the stuffed cabbage. If you look at your first page on the handout, we're going to cover some facts and figures of Poland. Look up. Poland is situated in Eastern Europe with a landmass slightly smaller than New Mexico. My first spelling error. I forgot the E in Mexico. Sorry. There's actually 3 in here. I'll go with it. It is comprised of lowlands, a narrow coastal area with rocky cliffs, and fertile farmland in the southern region. That's very important, the southern farmland, because that's where most of the grains are going to come from. That's a staple of their diet, the southern region in particular. Roman Catholic rituals of feasting and fasting, particularly in the holidays, Easter, Christmas, things like that, were introduced to Poland around 900 AD, and this had a strong influence on Polish food tradition. During the fast, many meatless and fish dishes have become part of Polish cookery. Sandwich between Germany and Russia. I put sandwich in there because it's kind of food related. Poland was forced to form many political alliances throughout history. These influenced its food customs. For example, the marriage of King Zygmunt to the Italian princess Bona Sforza in the 16th century brought Italian food customs to Poland, including the introduction of salad. The word for salad, lozinka, translates into Italian things. So it means like a whole bunch of Italian, indigenous vegetables that were particular for Italy were brought to Poland. They brought them in, and that's how they made the salads. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The Italians have a major influence, in particular today's dish too, because you're going to say traditionally, sometimes the stuffed cabbage was made without any tomato-based products, but because after Italy got that product and brought to brought to Poland, you're going to see the things like the Italian cheeses and the tomato sauce base on top of the stuffed cabbage is particularly part of the Italian influence. Other foreign dishes throughout Poland are goulash from Hungary, pastry from France, and borscht from Ukraine. However, all these dishes have become part of a unique cooking style. That last sentence just means that even though the influx of different foreign cultures was prevalent in Poland at that time, they were used to their own ingredients. So they might have swapped things here and there, ingredients here and there. So the cooking styles that they had at the point in time and the ingredients that they had were kind of substituted with the dishes that came into the country. The most important dietary staples in Poland are whole grains. These include rye, buckwheat, and barley. They are commonly used in dark bread, noodles, and dumplings. Pierogies, in particular, I'm sure you'll heard of that. Other staples include potatoes, beets, cabbage, carrots, mushrooms, and cucumbers. Boiled potatoes are the most commonly eaten side dish with meat, poultry, and fish. Cucumbers seasoned with dill are the raw ingredients of dill pickles, for which the Poles are known throughout the world. Polska pickles, you'll see a lot in the store. They even have P-O-L-S-K-A on that. Vegetables are usually eaten boiled. Pork is the most common meat, with beef, ham, and sausage eaten regularly. The most common dishes include bigos, a pork stew made with mushrooms, and sauerkraut. Cabbage is a big staple. Sauerkraut, unlike we see in America, you're going to get a can, open it up. You can make that at home really easily. Just take this and shred it, compact it with salt and cheesecloth, and tighten it up. Let it sit at room temperature for a couple weeks. That's the idea. You get sauerkraut and just wash the water off of that. So we're going to keep that. It's like the natural fermentation happens with the atmospheric yeast. So what happens is the fermentation process happens with the salt and the cabbage. And it's usually put in clay pots with a little twist. You keep on constantly twisting it to extract the moisture from that. So after a couple weeks on your countertop, then you get sauerkraut. Sauerkraut that's made that way is much different. It tastes a lot better actually than the canned stuff because you don't have that processed flavor to it, but that's what they typically use. Let's see. Fresh, there's another spelling ingredient. Instead of fresh ham, it's supposed to be fresh ham. The last one. Fresh ham served with horseradish, smoked and pickled fish like herring, and gołąbki or gołąbki, depending upon the region that you come from. Cabbage leaves stuffed with ground meat and rice, which is what we're going to do today. Okay? So we go to the second page. The first part of the recipe is the tomato sauce. I'm going to concentrate on this first of all, because that's going to be an ingredient in our stuffing mixture. They call it a sweet and sour sauce only because of the addition of vinegar. It's a very simple tomato sauce. I'm going to start with that first. First dish will be the olive oil. Put that on the side. pretty much all you need for the garlic. Now you see here, garlic has a tendency to burn very easily. When it starts to get brown like that, you want to take it off. It has a tendency to get very bitter. You can deglaze with a little vinegar. That's a sour part of the sauce. And sugar. Now the sugar and the vinegar obviously almost immediately makes a syrup, like a sweet and sour essence to that sauce right off the bat. This right here is fresh ground tomatoes. Smell the vinegar, right? And obviously a little salt and pepper as you go along. This will go on low. We're going to simmer it for a little bit. Okay, now for the stuffing part. The big meat eaters in Poland, by far pork is the forerunner. So what I have here is a combination of half beef and half pork for the stuffing. The recipe that you have on here, it calls for like a pound of each meat. I have that recipe just for demonstration purposes. So I got like 8 ounces of pork and 8 ounces of beef right in here. Goes in first. This you want a very small simmer because there's not a lot of liquid per se in this sauce. It gets very thick. What happens is when you add it to the cabbage, fat that comes from the pork and also when the cabbage leaves when you're baking it will add moisture to that sauce. So you really got to watch this sauce kind of consistently because you don't want to have it burn and caramelize too much, the tomato sugars, and the garlic could burn there. So once it comes to like a slight simmer, you just want to keep it down for a little bit, slight bubble, for a couple minutes just to extract the garlic in that sauce. Now also, for the filling requires a little saute, so we're going to have to do a dice on some onion. And some garlic. I think talking about sauteing with olive oil once before too. Olive oil is one of those oils that you usually don't saute with, but if at a low temperature it won't boil. It's like olive oils one of those oils have like a low smoke point, meaning if I use a peanut oil or corn oil or something like that, I can get that pan really hot and it won't break. So when I saute with olive oil, I want a medium heat. I just want to get like the essence of the olive a little bit. Once I know it's warmed up, then I can add my ingredients because I do not want that oil to burn. Because that in conjunction with garlic has a very bitter taste if you overcook it. So as soon as you smell, can you smell the oil now a little bit, olive oil? Once you get that essence going on, then you're ready to go. And you don't want to brown it either. You just want to make it what they call translucent. Just break down the fibers of the vegetable, release the juices, concentrate the flavors. Salt and pepper together. Now let's sauteing. Beef mixture, touch of nutmeg, fresh parsley, an egg, heavy cream, and breadcrumb. Nutmeg is one of those seasonings you don't need a little bit of, only need a little bit of. You can taste it, it's pretty strong, so you'll know that's in there when you taste it. Do a quick mix on that. Not that you can see too good. Now at the point in time when it's kind of translucent, kind of glassy. It's not particularly brown, but it's definitely cooked through. So then we want to deglaze with our red wine. I'm sorry, tomato paste first. Got a red wine. Okay, the sauce at the point where the garlic has been extracted the flavor. I need some of this to bake the cabbage rolls in, but because it has a nice garlic and tomato flavor in this, about a little bit of this will go into the meat. I'm gonna about a half a cup, the particular meat that I'm using right now. I'm gonna need the rest of this to put in the pan, so we're braising that. After the addition of the wine, I want to make it as dry as possible, so I'm kind of reducing that now. Mix to incorporate. This is the meat mixture. Okay, now we're pretty much at the point where the stuffing is made. All that's left is the cabbage. So, just have a regular cabbage here, green cabbage. I like to use Savoy cabbage sometimes. I didn't have it, so I have a regular green cabbage. The Savoy leaves are like the ones you see in the store with like a lot of ribs in it. The leaves separate very easily, but green cabbage works just as well. Take the core off. You want to prepare it. I can't really fold the stuffing in this because the leaves are very, very brittle for the most part. So what you want to do is separate the leaves. Some people boil the cabbage heads whole, but but I train differently. And it kind of works out. So pour it out. You want to keep the cabbage as whole as possible. And this one was a trim cabbage. I brought this one here too because traditionally the outer leaves, these are very tough. Even if you boil them down and cook them, they're still going to retain too much structure when you bite them. So a lot of people throw them out, but what they normally do traditionally is you save these, and I'll show you why in a little bit. Besides the fact that you don't want to waste the food, it serves another purpose. So I can't stuff them. I really can't use them for slaw or anything like that because they're very brittle. I'll show you in a second. What they traditionally do is this. Instead of having non-stick pans or saran wrap in foil like we have, you have to bake this in an oven. So all those outer leaves are put on the bottom of the pan. The sauce goes over that and your stuffed cabbage inside. What's overlapped covers that cabbage when you bake it in the oven. Okay, so that way, I did it a couple times. I did it like this at home too because this renders moisture. A nice pool of water so it won't stick. But once it's extracted, you just remove these as you scoop your stuffed cabbage out, and it serves its purpose. So you're getting a lot of moisture from that. And you have to like plastic wrap or foil like I did here. But traditionally, that's what they use it for.
It's all about technique.
Oh yeah. Those cabbage leaves that I have here, you can boil them in salted water. I just steam them about 5 minutes. So what you're ending up with a product like this. The leaves are very pliable. You can bend them, easy to stuff. You take your pan with the remaining sauce, put that aside. I'll kind of make like a Polish burrito now. You take the cabbage leaves and roll it up. Make sure enough leaves to encompass each roll. You can add about 4 ounces. Half a cup of meat stuffing for each roll. Here, roll it up. Goes right in your sauce. A couple more. Just lay them out flat. If you have multiple leaves like this you want to use up, you put your base leaves down first, and then you put more leaves on top. That way when you roll, you're going interior fashion so they won't spread apart on you. You don't want to do this and this on top because as you roll up, it's going to spread out on you. So always add to the leaves as you go forward.
Did you put the rice in there yet?
I did not, thank you. To the stuffing.
It's a low carb option.
Add the rice.
And where's the rice?
Guess what? Dang. Get rid of this. Thank you. Let me mix this up again.
That's the way you do it. Otherwise, if you're gonna miss the one thing.
You can't miss that. Thank you. So now the stuffing, properly made with the rice, goes in here. You noticed that I didn't put it in.
We gave you a cooking lesson.
You did. And then when you finish the pan, totally, the remainder of the sauce goes on top. And at that point in time, you bake it in a 350-degree oven. I cover it with ceramic foil, or you can use the cabbage leaf method, which is actually my preferred method, but I didn't have enough of the outer leaves to do that. So about 350 degrees for about an hour, and until the internal temperature of your meat, using it with a ground pork and a ground beef. So once it gets to be 155 degrees internal temperature with your thermometer, you pull it out. Set it here. I can totally see it. This is pretty much what you ended up with, like that. A little bit, kind of skewed, I'm going to spill some sauce. So for server's part of it, this has rice in it, I promise you, it does. Can I get some help serving, Liz, Brian? That particular aspect of this cabbage, meat and pork are definitely staples, and so is rice. So it's kind of like one of those all-encompassing dishes. You're going to get your meat, your veg, and your starch all in one dish. For a garnish, I'm actually using Italian cheese on top of that, a little bit of Italian influence, and some flat leaf parsley. Okay, so I'm going to show these guys how to do one plate. Just do like this. Bowl. I don't have to cut them in half, there's a lot of people here. Something like that. 2 pans? Yeah, I got 2 pans. That, and a little Parmesan cheese. Okay, well, they're panning that up. I have any questions so far? Yes?
With plastic wrap and then foil over top of that?
I do. It doesn't melt because what happens is this particular dish, when I'm braising, sometimes it's a good method. Sometimes you make lasagna, the steam that's rendered from that product raises up. The plastic wrap will not stick. What happens is it adheres to the foil. So what happens is it retains all that moisture. Now in particular, you always want that interface of the plastic wrap, especially with foil, because if you ever notice, like sometimes if you cook with foil on top of a tomato product, it'll eat through that metal.
Yes.
And you get the metal flavor in there. What happens is the acid reacts with the aluminum, the components of the foil. So first of all, it's a barrier between the foil, but also it's a tight fit, and you don't have to worry about it melting. If it's a heavy-duty food-grade plastic wrap, you can do that. And so what happens is all it is peeling it off, and just like it adheres to that foil, or not at all, because that moisture builds up so much pressure, will not adhere to the food.
So you can't use the stuff you just buy in the grocery store. You have to.
Some of that is really thin. You can for extended periods of time. It's like it has to be a decent gauge,
Okay.
but I mean you can use that. It'll stick to the foil, but it won't be an issue. Yeah. Especially if it's a tomato product, because once that foil hits your tomato product or any kind of acid for that matter, the metal and the acid are going to react, and that goes in your food. Sometimes you can have like leftovers. If you have like leftover lasagna or something you wrap in the foil, see the next day it's all pitted, the foil. That's a metallic reaction of the acid and the aluminum. Yeah. Don't forget everything today. There you go. Parsley somewhere. And that's pretty much it right there. I have, since next month is October, obviously, I'm going to make a call. I'm going to probably cover Germany. I didn't do that yet. So I'm looking because Oktoberfest. So I'm thinking about doing like a Sauerbraten, something like that, with a little Spätzle or something like that. So like a Sauerbraten I'll probably do. And then after that, after October comes around, we hit like different countries, but like America has a lot to offer too, being the melting pot that is. I'm kind of thinking about going to American regional cooking for a while, like cover New England area, maybe the Southwest region. So after Oktoberfest in Germany, I think about just covering Germany and then cover like American regional stuff like that. Does that sound good? Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Question. What would you serve to drink? What kind of wine?
It's very light-based tomato broth. I would go with like you can even go with the white with this because the pork kind of cuts the beef a little bit. I'd go with like a Chardonnay or even like a light-bodied. Let me think. Pinot Noir, something like that'd be good. Yeah, light-bodied, nothing too heavy because you don't want to take away from the flavor. Like when I deglazed the pan, I had a Pinot Noir with that, so we might want to match that. But like either like a heavier white or like a lighter red, be good. Nothing too heavy in body, you know, just. Yeah. And plus, because the sauce has like a vinegar kind of sweetness to it, even though it's kind of mild, it'll render itself to something that's not too sweet, you know, something like just like an accent, the tomato sauce. Yes.
In the recipe, you say a splash of red wine.
A splash meaning like a little bit here, and then most of it goes in my mouth. No.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I'll make it tomorrow. You did that rather swiftly. We can see
Okay.
that.
It was about, I consider splash to be like, if you have a bottle, regular bottle, give it a glug. The bottle comes up, you know. Just enough to like deglaze the pan. You'll see when you add enough of like any of the residual onions and garlic we're sauteing in there. As long as it encompasses the whole surface area of that bottom of the pan to extract anything that might be sticking, not to incorporate in the sauce. As long as you cover that sauce and just let it reduce after that. That's all it is.
Okay.
A couple glugs. Yeah.
I cook your way.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Put it in a pan.
Pretty much. Always cook what you want to drink. Yeah.
That's right.
Whatever's left over, you got it. Yeah. Any more questions? Yes.
Could you take all these ingredients and make a meatloaf?
That's pretty funny you said that because I doubled the recipe. What I'm actually going to do is it makes a good meatball too. You can make a meatloaf out of it. What I'm going to do, I may actually double the recipe that you're eating today. And for the coffee shop in the Baptist home, I'm going to make meatballs out of it. I'll make a cognac demi and serve it over Spätzle. So it makes a very good meatball or meatloaf as well too. You should put it in a loaf pan and just bake it off at 350 till about an hour. You'll be fine.
When can we use this?
When can we use it? That's good. I need a couple of chefs. You want to apply?
There too. Some are bigger than that.
But yeah, definitely. You can use it for stuffing like zucchini, stuffing vegetables if you hollow out like eggplant. Use it for that too as well. But meatballs and meatloaf you can use as well.
You also could do salt and peppers.
Stuffed peppers. That'd be excellent, right? Because stuffed peppers have meat, usually meat and rice in them too. Yep.
Very tasty.
You like it? Oh, good. You guys put a lot of cheese in it? Good. So, any other suggestions you think for Germany? I'm going to do Sauerbraten. Does that sound good? For Oktoberfest? Get a half keg in here and have a good time. How's it taste, all right? Pretty good? Okay. It's kind of mild, you know, it's not going to be too intense. Like the fresh tomato's nice, the pork and the beef is kind of light, but